What he is displaying here is a thing called interfaith. And interfaith, the interfaith movement, is the enemy of every particular religion, because it tells you that no religion is right and you can be all of them at once. But this is yet again an absolute contradiction.
All right, guys. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kim. And today you're getting double the commentary because I'm commenting on Bobby's perspectives, commenting on the Baha'i faith. Bobby is very interesting. I've watched him for a couple years. He started out as a vegan YouTuber and it made his health decline. And he was doing veganism as a way to further his spirituality.
Okay, let me cut you off right there, Bobby. First and foremost, we have to say I'm looking pretty rough. I think I look at least 10 years older than now. You can see there was no collagen left in my face. At that time, I was on a spiritual pursuit. I was on a pursuit of truth. I wanted to understand what reality is. And this is why I dived into raw veganism. But you can clearly see that it truly is the doctrine of the devils. You can see that it was eating away my flesh. It was a destructive cult.
So he started out Buddhist. This is my understanding of how he did this. He started out Buddhist and then he went back into his faith. I believe his faith is, or his original faith is Greek Orthodox Christianity, and he really did a deep dive into that on his channel. And then he started to study Muslim, and he converted into a Muslim. And this video is about commenting on his comments as a Muslim on the Baha'i faith. And we're going to take a journey into my mind. My ADHD mind went from the soul contract to this because the squirrels caught me for a minute.
How would you explain Baha'i in a nutshell to someone who has no idea what it is?
There's only one God. God educates humanity by sending divine teachers every once in a while. That's Buddha, Islam. Jesus, Muhammad, these are some of these divine teachers. They're essentially teaching one religion. So there's one God, one religion that is gradually unfolding, like chapters in a course book. And Baha'u'llah.
That's where it basically differs, because up until he said it is gradually unfolding like chapters, he was describing Islam. As Muslims, we believe that the message is always the same and it's never changing. God is never changing, therefore he reveals one message. Worship one God alone, your God is one. That is pretty much it, that is Islam. However, the way that he described it here is that the message is unfolding over time. And this is an argument that the Christians give as well. Of course, at first we all thought that God is just one, but now all of a sudden he is a trinity, he is three in one. Like that, you open up the room for interpretation and for gradual change in religion that then in the end can be of course detrimental and take people away from the monotheistic worship, just as yet again the Christians have done. So I'm very curious to hear how the Baha'i message is different from Islam.
Is the most recent of these divine teachers.
Okay.
And
I'm letting these clips run a little longer, so bear with me. I just want to be able to let you see what he sees and then what he's commenting on. So this might be a little longer. But I want to say here that when he says God is never changing, I'm going to challenge him on that, because the idea that God is solid and unmoving and doesn't unfold as an interpretation. Okay, this is really going to be a mess. For me, the unchanging part of God is the divineness and love and all compassion. I would say that part isn't changing, but when I think of God, I think of it in terms of God unfolding God's self to us and revealing as we start to understand in our lives and bring that practice of God. To me, that's what unfolding is. In the Muslim tradition, it could just be the following the word of the Prophet Muhammad.
Are totally relevant to what's going on in the world today. Me Too, Black Lives Matter, economic disparity, between rich and
those
poor,
movements are fake.
environment.
There's a quote that says, to be a Baha'i means to love the world, to love humanity and try to serve it, to work for universal peace and universal...
That is quite interesting. Coming from a Christian background, we always used to say that we do not love the world. We love God. We love the Creator. We are waiting for the afterlife, and we are not in love with this creation. And the same, of course, applies to Islam. Here, we are not in love with the dunya. We are waiting for the akhirah.
So this is so central to the Baha'i revelation, understanding that all the teachings of the Baha'i faith revolve around the oneness of humanity, this belief in this one God that loves us all, this one progressive religion.
Exactly, it's a progressive religion. That's the main difference here.
Family.
So the Baha'i faith is all about ridding the world of all our prejudices like racism, sexism, nationalism, and religious prejudice, and understanding the true oneness that just humanity is one human family.
But that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you say you're getting rid of religious prejudice, then you wouldn't have to talk about any religion at all anymore. However, you are presenting the message of the Baha'i, and I therefore have to think that you believe that the Bahai's message is superior to other religions. Does make sense?
Bobby is basically saying that this guy who loves the Baha'i faith is, because he's proclaiming it, he thinks it's superior to the other religions. And I disagree with Bobby on that. I think that trying to find some spiritual people who encompass what you want to practice in life and the way you want to live doesn't necessarily mean you think you are superior. Bobby does really try to challenge things, and he really does seem to get firm in his belief once he starts to dive into some kind of belief system or spirituality, and then he gets very strong in it, and he doesn't sort of go outside those bounds. It's like he really takes it on.
I really wanted to do well for my own health, for the planet, for the animals, for everything. I really believed this doctrine. But as I said, veganism is the doctrine of devils, and therefore it does not matter if my intentions were good.
So how does one practice Baha'i?
So to be a Baha'i is to be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim.
The way I like to say it is this: I'm a Jew as long as I can also be a Christian. I'm a Christian as long as I can also be a Muslim. And I'm a Muslim as long as I can also be a Baha'i.
I love it.
And I'm a Hindu and a Buddhist too along the way.
So
yeah, okay, those things are mutually exclusive, and what he is displaying here is a thing called interfaith. And interfaith, the interfaith movement, is the enemy of every particular religion, because it tells you that no religion is right, and you can be all of them at once. But this is yet again an absolute contradiction, because think about it.
Heck! Okay, he got interfaith definition definitely off. That's not my interpretation of interfaith. You can choose one spiritual practice and still do another spiritual practice. There's no rules that you can't do two at the same time. It's just, that's crazy to me that you can't. And also, a lot of interfaith discussion is just about faith leaders from other traditions, like interacting with each other to start to learn and bridge these gaps and bring about harmony. And I felt a little triggered by some of the stuff as I was watching Bobby, and I allowed the randomness of the universe to help me think outside of what I may be thinking about and use some trigger cards to look at what possibly could be coming up for me and why I was reacting. All right, I came out into nature because I love nature. I love God's creation. And since I felt triggered, I'm going to use one of my ways that I try to think about things from a different perspective. And I love randomness. And I have these trigger cards. So I'm asking the universe to help me choose one that I can think about why I felt so triggered about what Bobby was talking about. Here we go. Let's see what the universe has to say. When I feel insecure, I put on a false mask to hide who I really am, and then I dropped one or it flew off. So let's have two. When I don't feel good about myself, I respond in negative words and actions. Trigger card. Thank you. Thank you, universe, divine love, creation, everything that created this beautiful moment for me and for us.
Whoa, man, you just ran through a big pile of dog shit.
It happens.
What, shit?
Sometimes.
The Jews do not believe in Jesus whatsoever. The Christians, on the other hand, believe that Jesus is God, right? So therefore, Christianity and Judaism are very, very different from each other. They're mutually exclusive. And of course, the same applies to Christianity and Islam, because the Christians do believe that Jesus is God. They do believe that God is a Trinity. And the Muslims do not believe that at all. Quite the opposite. They believe that this is a sin, right? Very, very simple. So Jesus is a messenger within Islam. All of those messages are mutually exclusive. And therefore, we have to ask ourselves, which religion is right, which religion has the truth claim, the truth with a capital T, if you will. In Islam, we do believe that there is only one God and one truth, of course, and that truth is Islam, and it is never changing. Islam being the submission to that one God. We do believe that every messenger has been sent with the same message, and Islam has been perfected. There is no change in Islam. Therefore, no, it is not a progressive religion whatsoever. This is why it is perfect. God is perfect. His religion is perfect. It doesn't need to change. And therefore, new social issues do not interest us as Muslims the way that they interest you here. Oh, we're going to talk about BLM. We're going to talk about LGBTQ. We are all one big family. No, Islam is about the truth. We as Muslims believe Islam is true, and therefore Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, all of it is wrong.
To practice being a Baha'i?
Yes, very big. But honestly, guys, prior to veganism, I had no insecurity in me whatsoever. I was somewhat of an arrogant prick, to be fair. But still, there was no insecurity, no second guessing. And when I went vegan, I became so insecure, so apologetic, so scared of everything.
We read some writings in the morning and the evening.
Plus 95 Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is God is most glorious, and we say that 95 times a day. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
That's part of our kind of daily ritual. We say a prayer between noon and sunset. The Muslims bow 5 times a day to Mecca. The Baha'is just say one very short prayer. I bear witness, O my God, that thou hast created me to know thee and to worship thee. I testify at this moment to my powerlessness, to thy might, to my poverty, to thy wealth, that there is none other God but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. That's it.
That's all.
That's it.
Morning and night?
No, just between noon and sunset.
So our most holy book is called the Kitab-i-Aqdas. And now with the Baha'i faith, it's not like we were just given one book. We have many books. So we don't limit ourselves to just reading and studying one. You know, we have thousands of prayers and thousands of texts.
How many Baha'is can we find in the world?
I mean, for Muslims, it's not only the Quran either. If you want to study different books, you can, right? Starting with Hadith literature.
All of the religions have more than one book, usually. They have people who come after the original book and expound and give their take on things. And that's always perplexed me a little, that somehow the original book is the one and only expression of that faith, and that there can be no further expression of God later or something. I just never could comprehend, like, King James Bible is the original and there's no other, and the Quran is the only thing that God speaks through. God, to me, speaks through everything every day.
World peace, it's not just a what if or a possibility. It is inevitable. And it will happen one day, and as a Baha'i, it is my job to have...
Yeah, this for me sounds like an extremely false doctrine, because what they are trying to establish here is a utopia on Earth. I do not believe in a utopia on Earth. I do believe in giving charity, I do believe in doing good. However, I do not believe in salvation on this planet. World peace, will it ever be a reality? I personally do not think so, because we will experience our eternal peace, our eternal bliss in the Akhirah, in the afterlife. This world is nothing but a test.
I'm having another moment. Okay, utopia is almost like a curse word for people anymore, for people who try to envision the world being a better place to live. It just makes me crazy. It's like another trigger word for me. And most of my life, I have been insulted because I can't choose a religion, or I am a utopian who tries to dream up things that are not reality, and that I'm a peace activist, and it's impossible to have peace on this realm. Well, let me just start off by saying it is impossible if we can't even dream it to be possible. I don't believe that peace is some woo-woo kumbaya moments. I believe peace takes a lot of work. Conflict resolution is work. It is a warrior's job to get in there and to face things you don't want to and try to work them out. Also, the false doctrine argument that he makes, that this is a false doctrine to have faiths of different kinds and incorporate, it's crazy. We've incorporated everything into our lives from all other cultures and moments and being, and you can't separate that out because we influence each other. It's just the way life is.
To serve and bring about.
It's very feminine.
To be a Baha'i really just means to be of service to humanity. So Baha'is, wherever you go around the world.
But if that is the truth, and sorry for interrupting yet again, guys, if you just have to be in service to humanity, then just be in service to humanity. So every time I'm giving in charity, for example, I become a Baha'i.
Are trying to make the world a better place.
As a Baha'i, we see everything as reflecting God, all of God's creation, every living thing. And we are the caretakers. As humans, we're the highest created thing. We are higher than animals, we are higher than plants, and we're in charge of the world. And so we must love animals, not less because we're higher than them, but more so because the animals can't defend themselves.
No, he's a vegan.
As you
he's
know,
a
we're
vegan.
the greatest predator.
I hear it.
And instead of being the greatest predator, we should be loving and kind to all the animals.
Yeah.
Being a
That's vegan
Baha'i,
rhetoric.
it comforts me, it provides solace and hope. It confirms me and what I do and what I love to do, and it shines light on the path I need to take and what I need to do to get there.
We definitely need to work to be more internationally cooperative.
Right.
And the more that we can have treaties and cooperation and love and trust built up between countries, then that more that war can be put on the back burner.
As you've already heard me say 1,000,000 times, my single biggest realization from visiting almost every country in the world is that every human being is the same. after
What?
learning that this is all
You traveled the world, and what you came up with is that every human being is the same. That's absolutely ridiculous, man. And I'm not talking about physical differences. Obviously, you have a ginger beard and this guy is black. I'm not talking about that. Every human being is absolutely different. Of course, we have common baseline similarities, but we are absolutely different from each other. How did you come to that conclusion?
I have to agree with Drew Binsky. He traveled all over the world and seen all types of different people, and I've had the same experience. I've traveled and lived all over the world, and I would say that every human is the same, 100%. The same in that we all deserve love, happiness, food, clothing, a place to live, and the freedom to express who we are and share our differences, not kill each other over our differences. We share 99% the same DNA. I think it's 1% that's different. Hashtag one diversity.
Alright guys, and this is it for today's video. Beware of the soft-spoken, compassionate people that will tell you we are all one, we have no differences, we are all the same. Like this, you can never find truth. Like this, you enter subjectivism, where your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth. Hey, as long as you don't hurt me, anything goes.
Salam alaikum. I appreciate Drew Binsky's discussion of the Baha'i faith, and I enjoyed and disagreed with Bobby's commentary as well. And I just want to finish up this last bit talking about the last few things he's gonna talk about, and I just encourage you to go check out his channel and see if there's anything that will spark your interest. I believe that YouTube demonetized him for his being outspoken, which I have a problem with. I don't agree with everything he says, and I don't believe he's doing any kind of hate speech. I just believe he's just really being firm and saying he's against certain things. So I know that he has a baby and he has another baby on the way, so it's a little bit rough for him at the moment. However, I'm going to talk about this truth thing. We do all have our truth, and God made us different. And we have these different expressions of our truth. It doesn't make anyone right or wrong. It just makes us different.
Love is love. Do whatever you want as long as it feels good. We all gonna have fun. We're all a big family. And this is why I am opposed to the interfaith movement. Actually, even back in the day when I was a Christian, I was extremely opposed to the interfaith movement. And only like that I could actually compare religions. I did not say, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, we are all the same. No, back then I took the stance that Islam is wrong and Christianity is correct. So then I directly compared those religions. I read the whole Bible, I read the whole Quran, I compared them, and I saw for myself what is right and what is wrong. If I am right with my opinion and you hold a different opinion, then somebody here must be wrong. It doesn't work otherwise, don't you understand? If I say this microphone here is black and you say no, it is white, then only one of us can be right. That's it. Is it black or is it white? Now we're going to get a second party that will check the color, and ultimately we will deduct truth. Ultimately, objectively as much as we can, we will come to the conclusion what is right, what is wrong. And then ultimately we know this microphone is black.
Using the microphone analogy doesn't work for me because it's a tangible thing, whereas the concept of God is intangible, and it's up for interpretation. And it's an opinion about how God is from one's experiences, and also how God isn't. And if someone doesn't believe in God, those are concepts. It's like love. It's not something you can sit and say it's black or white. Love is or isn't. Love is complicated. It has big, it's all kind of messy crap going around it. And the same with hate. It's not black and white. We live in this like magnificent universe that has billions of stars and amazing people and pain in the neck people. Just there's so much, and that's just a little, I don't know, unworkable analogy in my mind. Black or white, so dualistic.
And you have been wrong, because your claim of white is wrong. That is it. And this is the same when it comes down to religions. People are not really religious anymore. They claim to be spiritual. And when you open up that door, anything goes. They say that all the religions are the same. But how can that be? The message of those religions is ultimately different. Don't you understand? Christianity claims that all your sins are forgiven if you accept Jesus Christ in your life. If you accept him as God and you believe that he has been crucified.
Once again, I believe Bobby is generalizing and not including the complexity of any tradition, religious tradition. They all have their parameters or boundaries or ways of doing things, and that doesn't make them wrong or right. It just makes it what it is. And some people in Christianity believe that you have to be saved. Not every one of them. And I would argue that not every single Christian believes the same way, because everybody is unique and has their own personal unique take on things. No one thinks the same. We're different. That's what we were created to be, so diverse. It's the same within any faith. And then to reduce people down into spirituality, saying that if you're spiritual, it just means anything goes and you can be hedonistic. I just disagree with all those things. I have met some amazingly beautiful, non-religious, spiritual people who have done extreme acts of love and kindness and would basically be following every golden rule of every religious tradition. Don't reduce things down. It's complex. God made us complex. The world is complex. I understand trying to bring it down into earth language and say it's this way, and it's easier to say black and white and to hurry up and do your YouTube. That's why it takes me forever to do these things. Sorry, guys. I hope that you are hanging in there. Thanks.
Please subscribe.
Muslims do not believe in that whatsoever, and therefore true Christians believe that Muslims are condemned to hell. Don't you understand? As I said a billion times now, they're mutually exclusive. They believe totally opposite things. Buddhism doesn't even believe in a god. Hinduism believes in 1 billion deities. Don't you understand that those are totally different belief systems? And that is great. Don't you understand that that is absolutely fantastic? Those are different belief systems. They do not have to be merged into a mush.
Ack! Okay, it's my third ack moment of this video. I'm sorry, it's just my third ack moment. And you have to understand that I kind of have this dry British humor, and I can be very ab-fab-like and Monty Python. So when I use the words trigger or common lingo, it's just because I'm trying to explain something that is kind of understood. He really generalizes. And I appreciate the fact that he thinks it's okay that everybody, I think he thinks it's okay that everybody has their own faith, but how does he know Buddhists don't believe in God? There may be some Buddhists who don't believe in God. I know a Buddhist who believe in God. I know Catholic priests who are Buddhist practitioners. There are no rules that says you can't borrow or use or incorporate or mush it all together in order to express your just love and devotion and gratitude to God for whatever it is that you're expressing your love and devotion and gratitude to God for, or your anger for that matter. And that's going to be, I'm going to have to do another video on that, because I know God can take our anger, please. Anyway, Thanks, Bobby. I just think this is great. You've helped me a lot to think about things.
And like this, we can objectively discuss which claim makes sense. We are not all the same. If you look at the world, you said we're all the same people. No, we are not. I'm living in Asia right now, and I love living in Asia because guess what? We have Asian people here. Asian people are super nice. They're very friendly, to me at least, and I appreciate being amongst Asians. But I appreciate it because they're different. They're different from Westerners. My wife comes from Africa. She is different to me as well. Guess what? Race is a reality as well. Gender is a reality as well. There are only two genders. But if you are affirming nowadays, you will come to the conclusion that there are a billion genders. Somebody is right and somebody is wrong. Yet again.
He really seems to be in that duality thinking of someone right and wrong, black, white, two genders, and I don't think like that. I think in diversity, yes, we share 99.9% of our DNA, and then we have that 0.01% that creates our uniqueness. And if we were to reduce religion down into something like that, our DNA, it would be the ultimate 0.01% would be the golden rule. Take care of each other, love each other, be kind, don't kill each other. And the tenets that help one from another, or if a Hindu believes in a billion gods and it brings that Hindu closer to God, what difference does it make? Unless you personally, or not you personally listening to this, someone who is feeling threatened because they don't believe, and that's where the fundamentalists come in. You must believe like we do, or you know what happens, which is not good. That's not following it. That is not religion. That's not spirituality. That is power. That's narcissism. That's a whole sociopath. That's a whole other ball game, and maybe I'll get into some of that stuff. Just if you're interested in me like talking about something, go ahead and share it in the comments, because it just makes my heart sing to be able to think about things.
Again, this is the doctrine of devils. Truly is, because you are making everything relative. Instead of looking at what is true, what is wrong, what is right, you're discarding all of it, and you're luring people in with compassion by telling them falsehood. We should never unite under falsehood, but under truth. And truth will always be divisive. Alright guys, but this is it for today's video.
Truth being divisive happens within religious communities, happens when people try to force other people to believe as they do. And I think that happens a lot within cults. You get pressured, you have to do things, and slowly your boundaries and things erode away, and you can, not you, but you know, the proverbial, you can find oneself doing things that they wouldn't typically do. It's just forcing someone to believe the same as you kind of seems like insecurities or a mask. It's not showing your true self and confidence in that belief. You don't need to convince anyone. It's good enough for you to believe. You, whoever, in whatever way. There are so many ways to express God, and I can't imagine God was like, okay, you must follow this one religion, or guess what? You all are going to go to HE double hockey sticks, and only this one truth. Out of this diverse world, are you kidding? I can't ride that train. No. Bobby, I appreciate everything you've said. I'm grateful for having your perspective. I disagree with some, but I do thank you for being a truth seeker.
If you have any ideas, it is much appreciated. So just post down below, as everybody keeps saying, right? Add your comments down below and let me know what you guys are thinking.
It's really cute to watch this. I was so innocent.
So
I bear witness, O my God, that thou hast created me to know thee and to worship thee. I testify at this moment to my powerlessness and to thy might, to my poverty and to thy wealth, that there is none other God but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting.